Hi, I'm Chris with Alman Marine, and if you've been paying attention to some Facebook pages, we presented some data over the past few weeks that some people are wondering how it was done. But I'll try to go over that with you and explain what I think is happening. What we showed is that on this 510 cubic inch marine engine, it was a performance marine engine. It was equipped with Comp Ultra Pro Magnum 1.7 to 1 rockers. And what we did was, when we exchanged those rockers for a set of Alman Marine rockers, we gained 600 horsepower, 600 RPM rather, in RPM range, and 3.2% horsepower. So on a 700 horsepower engine, that would be 22 horsepower gain. And if you read the articles and talk to people and get a general opinion, they'd say that when you exchange rockers, roller rockers, that are the same ratio, you really shouldn't expect a horsepower increase. Well, we got a horsepower increase here. And so, how did that happen? I'll try to explain that to you. So, what I plotted here are called kinematic lift curves. This is just as if you had taken a dial indicator, measured the valve lift on your engine, put the dial indicator on the retainer, rotated the crank every degree, and took a recording, and then taken those numbers and plotted it on a graph. That's what we've shown here. This is the design lift curve that is in your cam. Note that these are not the lift curves that were run in this engine. Those are proprietary. I couldn't share those with you, but these lift curves are sufficient to explain what's going on. So at speed, when the engine's running close to peak power speed, the valve motion doesn't follow this curve exactly. It's always something less than this. And why is that? It's that way because the valve train is deflecting. The valve train is bending. It's flexing. And how much is it flexing? Well, we can figure that, and I've done that here. So with the stud mount system, what we have here, what I've shown is that the deflection, I've added in the deflection into these lift curves at this speed. So you can see that, for example, here the exhaust valve opens later and it closes earlier. The intake valve does the same. It opens later and it closes earlier. So what this is doing is it's taking away available area under this curve. And so the engine can't breathe as well when it's at this engine can't breathe as well when it's at this speed, and eventually it's not going to be able to make as much power because you can't get enough molecules of air inside the cylinder and you can't exhaust the ones that you burnt. So what does the AM system do? Well, at that same 5,700 RPM, you can see that there's a lot less deflection here. So let me just go back and forth to show you the difference. It's the AM system, stud mount system. Focus your eyes down here. Stud mount system, AM system. Stud mount, AM. So you can see that there's more area under this curve, and that's going to equate to better breathing. So what happens at the peak power speed of the AM rockers? Well, there's less deflection there too. And then we'll go back and forth between that 5,700 RPM speed with the stud mount rockers and the AM rockers. You can see that these curves, they actually look kind of close, even though I've applied different compliance values, different flexibility values for these two systems. You can see that these curves actually end up being pretty close. So as you go from 5,700 RPM to 6,300 RPM, there's about a 25% increase in load there. So what we're saying here is that the AM rocker system can deal with a 25% higher load than the stud mount system. It's going back and forth between the two. So that's why we got that horsepower gain that we saw. We're just giving the engine more area under the valve lift curve. We're utilizing that cylinder head more. So up here at these high speeds, the cam to the engine looks bigger. And that's why we got the horsepower that we got. Once again, I'm Chris with Allman Marine. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can go to the website, allmanmarine.com. You can email info@allmanmarine.com, or we're on Facebook and Instagram at Allman Marine. Hey guys, so let's summarize. Allman Marine rockers have demonstrated a performance gain that we don't typically see at these kind of speeds with any stud or shaft mount rocker arm. Horsepower can be gained with rocker arms even with no ratio change. Valve train flex on big block Chevy engines can be significant, even in the marine engine RPM range, limiting horsepower. Engine redline, often dictated by valve train limits, can be extended by decreasing valve train flex. Allman Marine makes the only rockers optimized for the performance marine engine. So tell me what you think about this. Have you seen a performance increase of 15 to 30 horsepower from a rocker arm change without changing the ratio? Does having less valve train issues matter to you? What would you do with an extra 600 RPM on your engine or more? Leave me a note in the comments. Subscribe for more engine tech and hit that notification bell. We'll talk to you later.